Hi guys, it's Becky, and I feel like it's been a while since I made something on camera, so I decided to pull out the Softflex Campout design kit and make something from it. And so I pulled out some beads, I got some ideas, and I've decided that I am going to use the Softflex wire that came with this kit, the antique brass color, to wire wrap some beads around, well, not wire wrap, I guess, beading wire wrap. Anyway, it's gonna wrap around this awesome donut bead that it looks like sand, basically. It looks like the desert to me. So I'm gonna wrap that, and as part of that, I'm going to be attaching this snake charm to the bottom. We're going to use these blue and green beads so that we can tie it in with some of these other beads that came in the kit. Like these really awesome beads that's it reminds me of like when you do what is it, acrylic pour paintings. That's what this reminds me of. So we're gonna pull all of those together, and then I'm gonna finish it off with some Silversilk um, capture chain at the end as the chain for what we're going through. So I'm gonna do that. Let me go ahead and get started with this. Yeah, we'll make ourselves a little necklace, and I put aside some earrings to make some beads to make some matching earrings with that. The colors that came in this were with this brass uh, bronze kind of color, and that's why I thought this antique bronze uh, capture chain would go really well with it. Which, if you don't know about capture chain, it's a knitted wire around like a ball chain, and it comes in different colors. Like I've got this other color up here that is going to be part of a different project, but it makes it really cool. It makes it really easy to match your chain with what you're making. So I'm going to be using that. We've got the gold crimp ends, so I thought I would use these gold ends with the capture chain. They're just ends with a loop on the end so you can attach things to them. But it's I think that'll go well. We'll have some balance. Let me move this out of the way so we don't have shadows. And let me grab my tools. I think what we're going to be using today are going to be some flush cutters, some chain nose pliers, and I think that's all that I'm going to be needing for this. If we need something else, I'll call it out. But for the most part, I'm just going to be wrapping and then stringing some wire. Now I'm going to start with like a significant length of this because I'm not quite sure exactly how much wire I'm going to need to go all the way around this multiple times, but we're going to find out. So I'm just going to pull off about 2 arms lengths worth. That should be enough. And if it's too much, that's fine because I can always cut it off and use shorter pieces of this wire for other purposes. All right, let me get that wire back in here. But yeah, Softflex wire is really fun to work with. It's pretty supple, and it's usually comes in like different colors. This one is one of their metallics range, so it's like a bronze or brass colorway. But they've got other colors like, let's see, purple, yellow, red. It makes a really fun part of your design because then you don't have to worry about covering your wire. You can have it showing. It can be actually part of it, which is what it's going to be on this because I want this brass colorway to show on here. I don't want it to detract from the beauty of the stone. It's just going to kind of accentuate it. All right, so I'm going to find about the middle of this wire. And I think this is the middle, so I'm going to just grab somewhere 5 or 6 inches above the middle, and this is where I'm going to start with my wrapping. All right. I'm going to have this go, is it going up the middle? I don't know, we'll figure it out. All right, I want one end coming up, and then I want the wire to go around it. Like this, because this is going to stay where it's at, and then this is going to go around. So where it's at right there, where it's crossed over, I'm going to add a bead. You can use like any beads for this. I just wanted the blue and green so that the pendant had some colors that would go with the rest of the beads on this necklace. All right, so now that that's up there, I'm going to take this wire around behind the donut, and I'm kind of pinching it so it stays where it's at. Take the end up like that, and see how it's got this little curve here. I'm just going to put the wire through that. And then pull it tight. And now I'm going to do the same thing with the second bead. I'm going to alternate, for the purposes of this, between these blue and these green beads. Again, I'm pinching it a little bit so that it doesn't go anywhere. Come up through the middle. And through that loop. So I'm going to continue all the way around like that. So just hang out with me while I do that. So, oh man, so life has been real lifey, but I'm finally getting around to like actually making some things with this kit, which I was really excited about when I got it. And then I went to the Pacific Northwest and spent a bunch of time with family, where there's actually forests and huge pine trees, and I just kept looking at the ocean like, why do I live so far away from the ocean, guys? It's too far. Way too far. But it was really great to see family. It was great to spend time with so much of my family and to just relax and not have to worry about anything, except for, you know, getting where I needed to go. And, you know, family drama, which happens because families. But it was so good. It was so good. It was like balm for my soul to be able to do that. All right. All right, I got one more blue one that I'm going to put on, and then I'm going to attach my snake. And I'm still kind of holding on to this because I don't want the whole cord to go all the way through. It won't, but I'm a little nervous about it. So let's put this last blue bead on there, and then we will get around to the snake. So the snake charm, let me grab a jump ring for that because it's not going to sit right if I just put it on like that. Let me grab a jump ring for the snake charm, and you could do like just half of it like that. I think that would look amazing, especially in a bracelet, like to start beading along this side with a bracelet and then beading along this side and have that be like the focal part of it. That would look really cool. In fact, wow. Am I having second thoughts about my decision here? Maybe. Maybe not. All right, we're just gonna keep going. We're gonna go with it. Let me get a jump ring for this guy here. And attaching the jump ring to my snake. I think I'm gonna have the snake hang down from the top like that. Snacky snack. gotta grab a different pliers to hold the edge of my my jump ring so that I can close it. And these are just some round nose pliers. Any kind of pliers will work as long as you can get a grip on that side and move. Come on, friends. Move that other end so that it meets there. There you go. All right, and I want that jump ring to be nice and closed so that it doesn't fall off of here when we do it. And so for this, instead of sliding a bead onto it, I'm going to be doing this the same way as the other, but I'm just going to put the end of my wire through there so it'll hang like this. All right, so now I got to put it through. I'm going back to front on this. You can go front to back if you want, as long as you're like consistent in the direction that you're going. And then I'm going to put it back through this loop over here on the side. Like you can do, a lot of people do like wire wrapping with actual like craft wire and do this sort of thing. But it's a little harder to, I mean, and the craft wire will stay probably better, but it's not as supple, so it's easier to break your craft wire a little bit by doing it that way. Okay, so now I've got my snake on here. I'm gonna go ahead and finish up going along the rest of the way with my other beads. So I can finish making a little frame with my beads around this guy. String a bead, go through the donut. It's time to decorate the donuts. Make sure the bead is on that side and go front to back through the loop. Here, let me turn this so you can see it better. So it's not finished yet. Let me finish getting this all the way on here so you can see it. All finished up. We're going to do the next 4 beads. Bead front to back. Hold the bead where I want it. Like that. Grab another bead. Whoop, slide down there. All right, back to front. And front to back. Pull it tight. Right, I've got room for 2 more beads up here. And this is my focal for my necklace, although the rest of the beads are gonna take up a lot of attention space. I picked some really good beads for this. All right. Now green. Front to back, back to front. Let's keep going. All right, one more. No, I lost my bead. Just kidding, it's right here. All right. You guys ever have beads just jump away from you, like they're making a break for it? Like they're like, no, save me. It's not just me, right? It's not just me. All right, here we go. The front. And then through this loop in the back. And you're coming up here. All right, so now I've got this and this, and I have these 2 strands of wire coming up the top. And this is the fully completed beading wire wrapped focal with my donut. So that is going to be front and center. And what I want to do here is I want to make sure that this stays tight where it is. So I'm going to slide a crimp tube down here, and I'm going to crimp it right there. So I'm going to set this down real quick right there, pull out these crimp tubes, and these are the Softflex crimp tubes that come with the design kit, and like they're my favorite crimp tubes. Like, they are so good. I have never had a Softflex crimp tube crumble on me while I was using it. They just work. It's ridiculous. There they are. You know, it's like, where's my magic crimper? So this is another tool that I did not talk about at the beginning, and it's the magic crimper. And you can see it's got like this little hole on the inside, and what it does is it makes this crimp turn into from a cylinder into a sphere, and it crimps both wires together, and it looks real nice. And you don't have to worry about crimp covers when you're using this, because it's just a nice little round bead of metal. All right, now got those 2, got this where I want it. I'm giving this just a little tug to make sure that these are nice and secure. And then I'm going to slide this close to here, right there. I'm going to grab the crimping pliers, the magic crimper. It's not really magic, it just, you go around it from different directions and it folds down the edges and turns it into a little bead. That's the mechanics of how it works. You just go around from different directions. And it makes a nice little bead. All right. So now I can start beading my wire to make my ends. All right, now do I want, nope, I'm just gonna start with this. I am gonna grab one of these cone there we go. Yep, that works, the cones. And then I wanted to have these bead caps on either end of these large blue beads. So I'm gonna do bead cap, blue bead, bead cap. And these are very dark. There we go. So that's the first little bit of this. And then one of these amber beads, because I like having more of this like amber sandy color from this brought up into the rest of this. And then one of these brass spacers. These really cool, like, I don't know what the word for this finish is. I do not know what it is. It's gorgeous and I love it. So whatever the word for that finish is, if you know it, leave me a comment, because I love learning new things. All right, and then another spacer. Like that. And then the amber bead. And one of these large blue beads with the bead caps. And like this part is just stringing, just basic stringing. But this is the order that I'm going in. So I've got these large round blue beads with the bead caps, amber bead, the brass disc spacers, the fun, I don't know what they're called, but I really wish I knew what they were called, beads, more of the amber beads, and these. And I'm just going to keep going until I have 2 of these beads and 3 of these beads on each side. So next is going to be amber again. They're not actually like made from amber, but that's just the color that I'm thinking of. Like, it's more smoky than amber if I was to actually have to put a name to the color. I think they're very pretty though. All right, one more. Okay. And then bead cap, blue bead, bead cap. They are a very dark blue, so they do not show up that great on camera, but they're very pretty. All right, and I am actually not going to cut my capture chain because I want this to be a long over the head necklace, something that you don't have to have a clasp on. So now that I've got this end here, I'm going to put this cone on like that. And I'm only going to string one end because I don't want this video to just be me stringing. Just trust me that I'm going to do the same side, the same on that side. But I am going to want to attach this to my capture chain. So to do that, you see how there's this groove on the inside of the this connector? You can use like fold over end caps. You can use glue-in glue-in ends. You can do that sort of thing, but these are made specifically for the capture chain because it's got a little lip on the inside that will catch on the ball in here. So I'm going to put this in here, make sure it's in there really well, and then give this a squeeze with my pliers. And I usually do a little tug to make sure it's good. And there it is, it's good. So that's my one end. So I'm going to finish the other end after I string the other end on. But I do want to get this end connected to my capture chain for my necklace. Let me grab my crimp beads. And I'm just going to put the crimp bead on. Oh, don't go into that. I think it's small enough that it would have got lost in that, in the cone bead there. Put it through the end of the chain there. And then I'm just going to put this through here. And I can either cut it off there, or I can just have it go through this cone bead. It's like a bead cap almost. All right. So there we are. I'm going to crimp this end using my magic crimpers. Like, is that anybody else's bugbear when you call something magic when it's not magic, it's science or engineering? It's like magic loop. That's just what people call it, but it like, there's nothing magic about it. Bloop, bloop, bloop. Looks nice. All right, let's cut that. And let me get this other end strung and attached. And then I'm gonna make some earrings with some extra beads here to go with this. So I'll be right back. Okay, so here is the completed necklace. I have my donut that is wrapped with the Softflex wire with my snake charm. I've got my rest of my necklace. I've got my Silversilk, and this goes right over your head. No need for a clasp. It's really fun, but I'm going to make some earrings now, and I was looking for some head pins to go with this, and I thought, why not use some of this extra wire from my necklace and do wire head pins, which is something that I don't think I've done before. I've seen other people do it. It looks really cool. So basically I'm going to be wire wrapping just the end of a wire, and I'm just going to put the other end in here because these crimp beads need more than one wire in order to crimp onto. And I'm just going to crimp it here, sort of at the end. I'm going to rotate this around. And I know you can't see me opening and closing it while I'm rotating it, but I am. All the way around. I just want this to be a little sphere on the end of my wire. All right, so I'm going to cut both of these on this end. Just gonna cut both of those off. And this little bit that's hanging out on this end, come here. And that makes a little bead on the end of this wire that I can string my earring onto. So I'm going to start with one of these bead caps, a blue earring, a bead cap, one of these amber earrings, like so. And you see how it just holds it there on the end, so I don't need to use a head pin for it. And it's got a little decorative thing on there on the end. Oh, you know what I need? No, I don't think I need those. And then I'm going to take one of these fancier beads like this, and I'm going to grab another crimp and make a little loop up here at the top that I can put my ear wire through. So go back through my crimp bead, back through this one. I'm just going to make a loop up here. I don't want it to be a huge loop. It's large enough for my ear wire. And I'm going to crimp this too. All right. And I got to rotate it, go all the way around. Like, I've seen people do this, but I haven't done it before myself, so I'm pretty stoked that it works so well. All right. This is the earring. I'm only making one because you don't need to watch me make the second one. Just trust me, it's gonna look exactly like the first one. Like so. It's just gonna dangle. A little bit of a dangle to go with my jangle. Cool. Thanks for joining me. Bye.